This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrill. I am Anthony Morminos. We are now officially into April. Never really like April Fool's Day. You never can tell what's out there. Of course, if you're a Mets fan, you remember the old Sports Illustrated article on Sid Finch.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I've been a little leery ever since then. They announced Tiger Woods wasn't going to play in the Masters, so I held my breath to see if that was true or not. But what we do know is true, Seth, is it is Wednesday. And the Big A is back on what has become for many years now the traditional schedule when they are downstate, which is a 5-day race week meet Wednesday through Sunday. I like Thursday through Monday, but what a surprise I didn't get what I wanted.
Well, it would seem like if something's going to happen, they'll wait, digest the numbers, and maybe they'll change things in the future. But yeah, I agree. Monday is just
especially with like those 11 Monday holidays, 11, 13 Monday holidays sitting out there.
Yeah, and so maybe that'll wind up to be more than norm. But as I say, Monday's just kind of sitting out there waiting for one of the big circuits to jump on board. But it has to make business sense, and I think the experiment they did February into March. We'll give them some numbers to take a look at and make some decisions. Now, that may be mitigated by the fact that some of them, including this Monday, were not very attractive. So it's hard to know if we'll get a legitimate judgment. Though I think I read 47 horses total Monday.
Well, what was it?
Eight race card.
I had, I've said it many times before. I use 2 pages of daily racing form for one sheet, and it came up 16. And I said to you that I thought that the over/under was before scratch time was 50. But I also want to say that, I don't know how far back they're going to use numbers, but I've been, some people might say harping, but I have been talking about this for 4 years. It's if mares don't get pregnant and foals aren't born 4 years out, 5 years out, 6 years out, if you feel the reverberations, guess it wouldn't even be really the reverberations. You actually hear the actions of those. And we saw those foal crop numbers coming back about 6-7 years ago, maybe even set to go back 10 years ago. We saw so people should remember also, the high water mark for foals wasn't like the 1960s or 1970s. I think it was 1988 or 89 when they had 50,000 registered foals at the Jockey Club, and we are now 50% of that number. And as I've said, the problem is we've been at just about 50% for 4 years in a row. And I've said many times that, to me, the horses that race, are racing, what we do at the Handicappers Report, Monday through Friday, 2 tracks a day, is really 3 foal crops. And I've said we're down 75,000 horses. And as I've said, and Seth, the business side of this much better, the horsemen aren't giving up any races. The article that we pointed out the other week when I bought the daily racing form, because I love when numbers are crunched. I don't like when people give me the resultants of the numbers. Just give me the charts. They're down 5.6% number of races. Well, that doesn't weigh out with the number of horses that were down. And what I didn't like about that was, not that theirs was disingenuous, but they took a foal crop on a 1-year basis when, in fact, the pool of horses, to me, I think it's fair to say, is 3 years. You have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. I would think, Seth, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds make up 80% of the racing, maybe up to 90% of the racing. If you throw out juvenile races, maybe 90+% of the horse racing population. Yet we're only down 1 out of every 20 races. And as we like to say at Saratoga, we're not down at all. We run more races per day. And, as I've said this many times before, for owners, trainers, and jockeys, they can't get enough of this. They love 5-horse fields. Now, they don't talk about it because, but we, the bettors, we don't like them at all. And I just...
Yeah, the Monday's pick 6, $100, that does not get the juices flowing.
No.
And you talk about Saratoga and how a lot of folks complain the expanded car. It used to be for years and years when I first got into it, 9 was absolutely the norm. That is not only not the norm anymore, that's unusual at a place like Saratoga, but some other tracks. I mean, at Gulfstream this winter, certainly 10 and 11.
Well, 10 was the norm weekday, and 11 was the norm on Saturday and Sunday. And of course, obviously, a couple 12 race cars, and you had Florida Derby Day. We know those days are types of special. And I always said this about Florida Derby Day. When people say that they run 14, I don't have a problem with that because they front-loaded 2 of them at 12 and 12:30. And if you're an ordinary fan, you have to go to the track early on big days. I'm glad they get action. I mean, instead of sitting around all day waiting for 1 o'clock, I like the idea that at high noon they had action for the everyday player that wants to get to the track early and get a good seat or a parking spot and get into the day instead of, waiting an extra hour. And if you've ever been in that position, I've been in that position, that hour seems like eternity. I mean, that's a great thing because you start glowing at 11 o'clock, the windows open. So
I don't argue with the big days anyway. I mean, it is a business, and that's their opportunity to really capitalize and make some money. So I don't have.
But you don't want them raising the admission price too much.
No, I don't want them raising the admission price too much. Although I said it's a business. So this Belmont Stakes Day admission, I said I have no argument with them raising it. I just don't think it should be Kentucky Derby levels.
Yeah, it's not that type of happening. They wouldn't. I don't think they'd get it. I mean, that's really. I think the reason they don't do it is they realize that probably they wouldn't get it anywhere.
And I think what they eventually came up with was the perfect medium. They kept some prices the same, raised some prices, so everybody gets a shot to be happy on the day. All right, let's take a look at the handicapping for this afternoon. I'm going to take a look at Aqueduct a little later on. We're going to kick things off with Tampa Bay Downs, their opener
Nearing
on
the
this
end
Wednesday.
of the meet, by the way.
Yeah, well,
Couple days, right?
Tampa?
Yeah.
No, they go
April. They don't go into May, do they?
Yeah,
Derby weekend.
Yeah, it's Derby.
Derby weekend. They
because they're still going. The Derby's going. So
that's their weekend. Yeah.
So they're still alive and kicking. Their opener this afternoon, maiden claimer, 20 to 25 tags. These are 3-year-olds going 7.
And I've already noticed a couple of the outfits that I've been, earmarking and watching down at Tampa are already running horses elsewhere. Some of them have moved out, so I'll be very intrigued at the field size because Tampa is a very nice meet. We talked about their turf course throughout the year. So we open it up with 7 in the opener, 6-1-4, ladies and gentlemen, as we kick it off with an intriguing race because, as I said the other day, as a matter of fact, Mr. Valentine got the win early. I was actually surprised that off the even money morning line and a horse that stuck out at the Big A on Monday, he actually went up. I was like, the horse was such a stick out. The race with the negative zeros. Now this race, it's intriguing to me because you have what doesn't happen, I don't think, very often in maiden claimers, and that is multiple horses who have run well for a tag and obviously lost, as we're maiden claimers, and jumping up the price tag. And I like that. I chose one of those, and it's number 6, Don't Quit Dreaming. We certainly advocate that. The first 2 starts were maiden special weights at Laurel, non-competitive in those races. Left the Graham Motion Barn, came out and ran for a tag, was the beaten 6-5 favorite on March 9th. Comes back 24 days later for twice the price off of a second place finish. Now, we all know on a national landscape the excellent work that Graham Motion does. Now, Bernie, and I've said this before, I believe it's pronounced Run, even though it looks as though it would be pronounced Roan. It's Bernie Run, is a sharp operator down at Tampa in his own right. So I'll take number 6, Don't Quit Dreaming, with Dean Butler back in the saddle, my top pick. For second, number 1, Nave Duell, going for the 3rd career start. Started the career in January, showed a little speed, followed that up once again, showing a little speed in both those efforts. Tired very badly. Now, off of those losses, in the Feliciano operation, trainer jockey, very sharp, they jump up by 2-1, the claiming tag. For third, number 4, Apple Orchard, making the 2nd career start after a hit-the-board debut at 5-1 back on March 9th. 6-1-4, this afternoon's opener from Tampa.
Race number 2, a $7,000 to $8,000 maiden claimer. These are fillies and mares 4-year-olds and up. They will go 3/4 of a mile.
4, 6, 7, ladies and gentlemen, second half of the early daily double. And Aludra gets my top pick. And makes the 4th career start, and it was the 2nd career start where I think the light bulb went off. We saw a little early energy going 7/8, which can be a tough coming out of the trees. Front end, Victor, that didn't work out. Cut back to 5.5 and was chasing on the inside. Talked about the idea of Tampa Bay Downs and on the main track, where it seems to me many times under that sunshine and that nearly white dirt, you see horses making the 4-wide move on the dirt and on the turn, and you're just like, geometry tells me that's not so bad, but boy, I'll tell you, that does seem to be the preferred natural good running strip. So chasing down inside, not so good. Now we draw a mid-pack post position, and we'll take in the 4th career start, number 6, Aludra. For his 2nd, number 6, Rocket T. Like the effort at this level most recently, going back 2 races in the first start of the year, raced very well for a much steeper tag, and then dropped down, regressed a little bit, but the comment in the daily racing form reads, fractious in the gate, might have left all the race there, but that being said, might have left all the race in the muscle regression coming off the 2nd start, which is not my favorite angle, but the 3rd start, whether for the career or in this case off of the Halloween layoff. I'm expecting Angel Sherpa, who rode this horse down at Laurel, to get a better effort than we saw the 2nd start. 4th, 3rd, right next door in the starting gate, Hazel's Brew, Harry Vega, who's going very nicely in the springtime down at Tampa Bay. He gets to mount back after riding this horse in the first 2 starts since running at Indiana Downs back in late August. 4, 6, 7 in the 2nd.
3rd race this afternoon, optional claiming event. Claiming tag 75,000. Non-winners are one other than the condition. These are 3-year-olds going 6.
6, 4, 5, ladies and gentlemen, and Wine Tipster gets my top pick. You'll see familiar silks this afternoon of Wine Tipster. Todd Pletcher used to have this horse over in the autumn at Gulfstream Park. Stone Street sends out this offspring of Hardspun. This horse won the career debut, and then at 3-10, then it all went south versus winners on November 24th. Shows up for the first time for the year, gets Ronnie Allen Jr. in the saddle, and I think it would be very nice to receive 3-1 when the wagering is finished on our top pick, number 6, Wine Tipster. And, you should know that Jess Jackson's wife, the widow, is it Barbara Benke?
Benke, yeah, you
She
got
is
it.
one of the most renowned winemakers in the United States. It has been for a long time, so I suspect that's where the Wine Tipster name comes in. For 2nd, number 4, Palinum Prize going out for Carl Larson. This horse makes only the 2nd start since December 22nd. The comeback race was on the Ides of February. Now gets Antonio Gallardo back in the saddle, who rode this horse at the end of December to a 2nd place finish. 4th, 3rd, number 5, Trident's Hero. This horse hasn't started since January. That was at Penn National. And Seth, I know you follow this, boy. It looks like Pennsylvania and the thoroughbred industry really, it looks like they need that slot money, or else they're in a lot of trouble, but we'll see how that plays out. But that allowance race at Penn National, I cannot quantify how a horse running at Penn National in Charlestown, never for a tag, now shows up at Tampa under the $75,000 tag, not the A other than. This horse won the career debut, which I always fancy. I think it takes, if you don't speed pop the field and dominate them, it takes some going. Now, it was at Charlestown on August 24th, hasn't won since then, but has hit the board in 3 of 5 in a runner-up position. 6, 4, 5 in this afternoon's 3rd.
4th race this afternoon, a marathon on the turf, a starter handicap at 16,000. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. They'll go a mile and 3/8.
This is intriguing to me. Very infrequently, maybe never, or once a meet, I'd like to call up the racing secretary. My notes tell me, Seth, that this is the first time they're going beyond a mile and a half, about a mile and 1/8, excuse me. And when they go a mile and 1/8, it's the about distance at Tampa. It's not the about distance when they go a mile or a mile 16. Now they're going about 11 furlongs. And also, Seth, I don't know if you saw the card, there's going to be the open 11 furlong turf coming up in a couple of races. It just intrigues me that now all of a sudden on this day they throw in 2 turf marathons. They've skipped the whole meet. I mean, it's Did the trainers knock down the door? We want to go 3 turns at Tampa, but we go this afternoon. And Seth, as you like to say, I think to the casual racing fan, it's counterintuitive how these races are won. And I think it's even more, speed is more dominant on the 3-turn races, which most of them are conducted, except Belmont Park, which is in our front windshield. I love speed when you're going 3 turns. 5, 10, and 6, leaving number 5, Hoist the Colors, as my top pick. Here's a miler. You know, an offspring of Starlin, a miler on the turf, shows up here. Won most recently, 2nd start of the year, making every pole a winning one, going a mile. The last 3/8 of a mile, I think, is easy to navigate if you're not fatigued, if you haven't gone into oxygen debt. You just keep on keeping on. So number 5, Hoist the Colors, my top pick. For second, number 10 on the outside, Award, a runner who will be off the pace coming out of just a sharp operation, who claimed this horse for $16,000, already has the W in one of the rare about 9 furlong races. They don't run very many 9 furlong races at Tampa. Now, they do run more than they run at the Big A, but not too many. And for third, number 6, Hoodoo Meadow, another horse who's probably will be allowed to relax early, finished 4th most recently, going 8.5. Used to be in the Jonathan Shepard barn. You would think this line of Danzig would like the turf this afternoon. It was 3 for 14. Our first turf marathon at Tampa Bay Downs, first of 2 today, 5, 10, 6.
5th race at Tampa, calendar condition claimer. We're down at the $5,000 claiming level. These are 4-year-olds and up. They'll go 7.
1, 7, and 4, my selections as Fernando de la Cruz, who really never bounced back to that high level of frequency and the win percentage he was the first 6 weeks, but he's kept on, takes the mount in here again after back-to-back runner-up positions. That was rooting. Now we draw the rail going 7/8. I like horses shortening up in here, and we get 5-1 on both the sharp trainer and sharp jockey. Number 1, trump card, my top pick. For second, number 7. Number 7 is 8 Riders. Comes off of a good 3rd place finish, having Fernando de la Cruz in the saddle on that afternoon. Gets Pablo Morales today. For third, number 4, Exactness. Might be my favorite name for a horse ever. Dale Bennett sends out this runner, second off the $5,000 claim. Just lost at 6-5 with Mr. Gallardo in the saddle on February 27th. 1, 7, and 4 in the 5th.
All right, we'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll complete our look at Tampa Bay Downs. A little later on, Aqueduct. Stay tuned. I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network.
It's called the fastest 2 minutes in sports, and the tradition continues Saturday, May 3rd with the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby. If you can't make it to the Clubhouse Racebook in Albany, you can still be a part of the action by visiting one of our many Easy Bet or branch locations conveniently located throughout upstate New York. For a complete list of our Easy Bet and branch locations, log on to capitalotb.com. Capital OTB and capitalotbbet.com. The most convenient ways to wager on all the Triple Crown races.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Turf Hop on April 5th. So sign up today, online at capitalotb.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Wednesday morning. Seth Merrill and Anthony Mormino will continue now our look at Tampa Bay Downs for this afternoon. Their sixth race, an optional claimer with $75,000 tags. Non-winners have won other than the condition on the turf at 1 mile.
Quick note, the 11 here is an also eligible full field of 10 here coming out of the dog leg. 1, 2, 9, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1, Be Nice or Leave. Tom Proctor, who is, his operation is far flung. I mean, not with many runners, but from a matter of geography, Tom Proctor's operation is going as well and mostly for Glen Hill Farm as it has ever gone. He sends out this offspring of Kitten's Joy for the first start since scoring a victory in a starter allowance in mid-January. Brian Pedrosia gets the mount for the first time in the sixth career start. 2 for 5 to date. We're having won the career debut and the most recent for second. Right next door in the starting gate, number 2, Cava. Joan Scott sends out this runner, and Joan Scott hit my radar screen, I think it was 3 winters ago, where she had a very small operation. I think she was owner-trainer of a couple, and boy, she has taken off since then. This runner broke the maiden in the most recent score. That was maiden claimer 16. Doesn't go to starter allowance. Comes in under the $75,000 tag, this offspring of Aftermarket, who I think is a sneaky good turf stallion. And on the bottom side, you have Woodman. No sneakiness there. And for third, number 9, Zip to My Lou. Graham Motion sends out this runner coming off of the second start against winners. Third time Lasix. Most recent effort was Valentine's Day. First time in starter allowance after breaking the maiden, finishing third. Luis Garcia, who was aboard the maiden breaker, and the most recent effort, he gets the call back. 1, 2, 9 in the sixth.
In the 7th race at Tampa Bay this afternoon, we're looking at a claimer, $10,000 to $12,500 tags. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs.
7 horses in here, and I don't know that I've come across 5 races in my lifetime that I've seen this, including the Breeders' Cup Sprint. On paper, it seems as if every single horse has speed. Sprinter's speed. From a betting standpoint, I don't know how to parse it out. I think it'd be very intriguing to watch it, but I just think it's going to be very easy, to see who attacks from the outside. And that's really the 2 items that parsed it out for me was I'll take the outside runner who has an affinity for Tampa, and that made it easy. 7-1-3 for me. Anita, who in 10 career starts has hit the board in 8 of them at Tampa. 4 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. Second off the $5,000 claim. Raced very well, sprinting 6.5 in a strong pace race. Now gets the outside. It's going to be a very intriguing race. 9-2 on my top pick. Anita gets the call. For second, the horse that may sit off of the pace, whether by hook or by crook, drawing the rail, is number 1, Dance While It Storms. Harry Vega gets them out. They go for 3 in a row at Tampa after shipping in from Indiana Downs, last seen September 11th. For third, number 3, Brewski's Star. This horse has good speed. I think this is the one that can't get to actually the top. He has moderate type of sprinter speed at Tampa, but has good turn times. We'll see how the race unfolds for him. 7-1-3 in the speed-laden 7.
And as you noted before, once again, we're about 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf. This is another starter handicap at the $16,000 level, 4-year-olds and up. Again, as I say, another 1 mile and 3. Is this a split division?
No, girls and boys.
Oh, okay.
You had girls first, now you have the boys. What I don't get, imagine if we were back in the old days, you had split divisions, that would be great. But here's the part I don't get now, Seth. I'm going to say this. I certainly don't remember it, and I've never seen an 11 furlong race at Tampa. But if the diagram in the form is right, I'll give Seth a moment. Can you see? I can't. Do you have the diagram of the track? Mm-hmm. How can they not run exactly 1 mile and 3/8? Looking where they're starting. They seem to be starting in the about.
I never know how to trust these.
That's what I'm saying.
Diagrams.
If the diagram is right, it seems to me that they could get to 1 mile and 3/8 exactly.
And I'm also going to say this. I have not looked at the condition book, but you were questioning why too. And given their different sexes, I wonder if maybe 3 or 4 weeks down the line, they have a couple of stakes races going a marathon distance for like maybe their closing weekend or something, if this is some kind of prep because they got a couple of good fields, too.
Yeah, and the starter handicaps would be something like that. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to watch to see where the starting gate is located because my one thought is what I have to figure, and I think this should be laid out, is if it's about 1 mile and 3/8 because it's longer, because they don't want to start on the turn, that's one thing. But there's no way it could be shorter, right? You would just back it up a little farther. So I just, I get back to that starting gate thing. I mean, how do we not get exactly what we're doing here? 7, 6, and 4. Quick note, the 11 isn't also eligible, 11 through 14. So, coming across these races for the first time, I'm going to say that they are limited to 10 in these races, and they have 4 also eligibles, which I think is intriguing. But 7, 6, 4, Royal Hill gets my top pick in here for Mr. G. Bennett, first off the $16,000 claim. Gerald Bennett doesn't claim very many horses according to the Daily Racing Form, but he has won with 2 of 8. This is an offspring of Royal Academy. This is middle distance turf. This is a Breeders' Cup mile winner. I think this is one of the 7 furlong yearling purses, that being Royal Academy, who actually paid off for Vincent O'Brien. It gets down to the old adage. I want a miler or a mile and a 16th, trying to go 11 furlongs with the controlling speed. So number 7, Royal Hill gets my top pick. 4 second, right next door in the starting gate, number 6, Page Me. This is Jose Garcia, ladies and gentlemen, who's been the regular rider aboard this horse. Last 4 starts, a victory, 2 seconds, and a third, going middle distance turf. 4/3, number 4, Discreet Duke. Kathleen O'Connell sends out this runner who just won a 3L claiming going a mile. Shannon gets the mount this afternoon from Antonio Gallardo, 7, 6, 4 in the 8th.
9th race this afternoon, optional claimer, $75,000 tags. Non-winners at 1 other than the condition. 3-year-old fillies going 6.
5, 2, 1A, ladies and gentlemen. My selections. The number 5 is Distinctive Humor, scheduled to make the 6th career start. Third. Won the debut, then came back as a beaten favorite in a starter allowance with Ronnie Allen Jr. has been aboard both starts. Now comes back in the optional. This horse in for the $75K. And taking a quick look, the 1 and the 2 are in under the allowance conditions, the remainder for the tag. For a second, taking one of the allowance horses, number 2, Ski and C, making the 3rd career start. Won the first one in Minnesota by nearly 16 lengths, breaking from the rail and breaking second to last. Well, that was just a minor disruption. Did not return to the races off of that brilliant debut until March 5th. Now comes back with Dean Butler in the saddle. And scheduled to break for the number 4 post position, 1A to the flag. Daniel Santano and Kathleen O'Connell trying to take on winners for the first time this afternoon after breaking the maiden in the 8th career start, 5, 2, 1A.
10th at Tampa this afternoon, an allowance non-winners of 1 other than these are fillies and mares 4-year-olds and up on the grass, 1 mile.
An outstanding finale, folks. Quick note, 11, Big Debbie is at MTO. 12, 13, and 14 are also eligible. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to say that enough this year over the winter time at either Gulfstream or Tampa. 3, 10, 6. Wrapping it up, and number 3 is Exclude. They're going to add blinkers this afternoon. Grand Motion sends out this runner with Eric Rodriguez in the saddle. Polish numbers on the backside. We talked about, what's now weeks ago, the horse evidently in the finale for Roy Lambert. It was the key for me was Polish numbers on the bottom side, middle distance, turf influence for me. For a second, the outside horse, if there are no scratches, number 10, Dido, going out for a Grand Motion. This horse was laid off from December 23rd, 2012 till early February. Makes the 3rd start. Won the 2nd one in the hands of Graham Motion. 4/3, number 6, Seeking Luck. Tom Proctor sends out this runner. If you've noticed with Tom Proctor, obviously his national go-to guy is Gary Stevens. But boy, I tell you, when he drops into jurisdiction, he knows who the go-to guys are. He found Ronnie Allen Jr. They scored by 3 lengths. Coming off a July 6th Canterbury layoff, 3-10-6 in the finale from Tampa Bay Downs.
That brings us to our next commercial break. We'll take the break. We'll come back and shift our attention to Aqueduct right after this.
It's called the fastest 2 minutes in sports, and the tradition continues Saturday, May 3rd with the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby. And there's only one place to watch it, the Clubhouse Racebook. To be a part of the excitement, reserve your seat today by calling 446-4010.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrill. I am Anthony Mormino on Wednesday, which nowadays means it's the Big A as they kick off their, they're in the midst of a 6-day race weekend. They were dark yesterday. They ran on Monday, and now I didn't take a look at Aqueduct yet. I'll do that when I go home today. And you don't do the downloading sheets, but off the top of your head, field size, are we around 50 again? Is it short fields throughout the day we're going to go through?
They certainly aren't what you would like. They're better than Monday, I think.
They're okay.
Not
I see you have a sheet in front of you. Is there something you want to
I was just going to go over, and you may want to comment on this. Not my results from yesterday, but there was a side story as well. I was just going to mention yesterday at Turf Paradise. I had a couple of winners at the end of the day, so 2 on top in 9 races, but I called a couple of plays of the day. This kills me. I went 3 deep in the first exact, and of course my 4th selection wins at a nice price, and so there was a nice exacta there that we missed. But the next one, I went 4 deep. It was a 68, just under $70. So overall, there was a nice ROI yesterday with the plays of the day. Happy with that. See what we can do today. But notable, we caught on to this guy early. First 3 races at Turf Paradise yesterday, Drayden Van Dyke.
Yeah.
And he's been doing much better out in Southern California. I mean, we caught on to him early in Southern California.
Yeah.
But the last week, certainly over the weekend,
he had multiple wins finally on a day. He's not had, he hasn't had like 7. He wins like every other day. Then I noticed he had multiple wins. Matter of fact, I think he won consecutive races the other day. So it's tough going. But
but it was 1, 2, 3 at Turf Paradise yesterday.
And we noticed that he is taking the days off in Southern California, and he's ridden there, and we thought that his horses would be bet, and I kept my eye out from there, and they're not. But he also hadn't met with,
it took him.
He didn't meet with great success.
First couple of weeks, he was all right, but there wasn't anything special about it. But since then, his numbers at the meet have been okay.
To me, especially when you're an apprentice, and for journeyman, they even have less recourse. It's like Taylor Rice. I said, Taylor Rice, when she came out, she was riding for her aunt and everything, but now David Jacobson. The right people have to like what you're doing as a bug boy, because then they'll give you the mounts, because quite frankly, for the 30 years that I follow, 30 plus years I follow this on a daily basis, Seth, the claiming guys really love the bug boys. You don't get the apprentice allowance in stakes companies, so they kind of abandon you. But these operations that run many horses, they want to win races. They're not prepping for another race. And Taylor Rice got David Jacobson, and now we'll see how.
Although that is a great barometer of when an apprentiance has really made an impression.
That's
when
they
step into a stakes race, don't get that allowance, and
that's
somebody's still willing.
That's the last hurdle. is when they're willing to give up the 5 pounds.
And
You've
Trevor
arrived.
McCarthy's a guy now that
He's
you
arrived.
see, jumping up
He's
in the
arrived.
stakes races.
Just a quick note, I think it's tomorrow, right? Pimlico opens.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. So let's get to the big A this afternoon. Seth tells me that the field size is a little bit better than on Monday, which we would certainly hope for. And the opener, 3-year-olds and up fillies. And Maris Maiden Claimers 12-5, stashing 6.5, excuse me.
3, 4, 6, and 1. The number 3 is Miss Red Cloud. Goes out for David Jacobson and drawing away. And you just have to use this horse on those connections and the class relief. They claimed this horse 4 starts back for 50, went and made special company right after that in a couple of races. Then last time dropped back in for a tag, but it was a 40 tag. They go for 12-5 today. I just think the class relief will provide the wake-up call. Second spot, the number 4, Golden Annie. This horse has some back numbers that are good enough to fit with this field. The last race was certainly something of a disappointment, but another step down the claiming ladder might help this one also. And in the third spot, the number 6, Warning Track Power. It just gets back to the proper level. This horse was claimed for 16-2 back and was a nice second that day, then bumped up to 35, bounces back down to 12-5. But given what we saw from this one, 2 back at 16, I think the move to 12-5 is going to prove beneficial. So again, all of mine, I'm looking a little bit of class relief, horses to rebound to better form. I have it 3, 4, 6, and 1.
Warning Track Power as baseball season is underway. Second half of the early daily double. Fillies and Mares once again claiming tag of 12-5, non-winners of a race in 2014, going 6.
4, 2, 1, and 3. The number 4 is Guyana Princess, who might be finding some class relief in here. It's a little bit of a question mark. I'd say it's almost a lateral move, but I think there is just enough price relief that this is class relief. Why do I say that? Last time out was in an open 20, open condition-wise, but it was a New York bred 20. Now this is a conditional, completely open 12-5. So again, I think this is going to be some class relief for this horse. And off of the last 3 starts, was racing pretty good against, as I say, what I think probably just a touch better. So we'll put the number 4 Guyana Princess on top. Second spot, the number 2 Vinda, 8-5 on the morning line, and certainly likely to justify that, getting some nice class relief for Rudy Rodriguez. And again, the connections and the class drop attracted my attention. And then the number 1 Quiet Sunshine for the aforementioned David Jacobson and drawing away. Thank God for David Jacobson and drawing away, or the field sizes this winter would have been much, much smaller. But again, potent connections and ran second at this 12-5 level, 2 starts back. So another one that should be a good fit at the particular level. In the second, 4, 2, 1, and 3.
Because Seth makes a good point that those horses would have been in different silks. Their frequency
Yeah.
would have been lower. On to the third New York State breds. Fillies and Mares in for a claiming tag of 50, racing 6.
3, 4, 2, and 5. And the aforementioned David Jacobson, trainer of my top pick, Julie Mack. Even money on the morning line. I looked at this race and I was trying to look up breeding and whatnot because this horse doesn't excite me that much. But I couldn't go in another direction. The career debut and the buyer figure and whatnot, just say Jilly Mack probably is the one to beat. The breeding on this one, this is the first foal out of the dam, so there's not even much to go by there except that first start. Now, it was claimed out of that by Jacobson, moving up the claiming ladder. So again, this horse doesn't thrill me, but off the career debut and compared to what is a small field where nothing else attracted my attention, I'm going to go with Jilly Mack. Second spot, the number 4. It's easy. 4 career starts so far. Buyer-wise, the career debut was the best. The 3 starts since then haven't lived up to that. But the last one showed some promise. That was a move down into claiming company. Horse was claimed out of that race, moves out of the barn of Todd Pletcher, and moves back up the claiming ladder. But again, I think that indicated that this horse may be in the comfort zone in for a claiming tag, and I just don't think this field is particularly, was in a 25,000 field last time. This is 50, but I don't see this as a field of particularly world beaters. So it's easy, should be competitive. And then in the third spot, the number 2, Rumble Doll. Couple of starts so far. Seemed to improve, not number-wise, but finishing position-wise nicely last time. Finished behind It's Easy, just behind It's Easy. So like that one, was claimed out of that race for 25, moves up to 50. But as I say, I don't think this field is going to be that much tougher than that one. So I'm leaving the first two first-time starters out of the mix. I didn't find enough there to either nature or nurture to get super excited about the first-time starters. I'm using the ones with some experience, 3, 4, 2, and 5.
I was thinking not only we have Pimlico opening tomorrow, we have Keeneland on Friday. So you like to say the seasonal change measurable by racetracks on the Handicappers Report. On to the fourth race, we have Open Company. These are 3-year-olds and up. Maiden special weights going 6 furlongs.
4, 3, 1, and 5. The number 4 is Constantine, and nice 8-1 on the morning line. I'm going to do a win place on my top pick in here with a play of the day. I'm also going to do a 4-horse exacta box and hope that 8-1 holds up. Joe Rosario on board. It's a Bob Baffert trainee. We'll see first time out of the box Baffert with Rosario on board, whether we'll get that 8-1. It won't shock me if we do. I mean, Baffert in New York is not as potent as Baffert in California, but I do find it intriguing that they chose to come to New York with Constantine. Constantine, interesting that they purchased this horse last year in a 2-year-old in training sale, $200,000. This horse worked 10.0 at that sale. So this was, as a 2-year-old, had some nice speed, then came back for the career debut here in March. And okay, 5th in that race, didn't knock him dead, but may come out of that with some education to build off of. The Dam produced a sibling called I Love Silver that was 5th in the debut, then 2nd, then 1. So that one took a little bit of education, eventually went on to become a stakes winner. Another sibling called the Max, 2nd, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, and 2nd in the first 6 career starts. So first 6, a couple of wins and 4 second-place finishes. And another sibling called Parting Words, 4th, and then a couple of wins. So again, took the siblings maybe a start to figure it out, and then they moved forward. We'll see if Constantine can do the same thing at 8-1. Second spot, the number 3, Cost Effective. I think on the numbers, this horse is very interesting. Has had plenty of opportunity and hasn't gotten it done, but has been in the money 6 times in 10 starts. So I'm going to throw that one in the mix as well. Again, this is a horse that has had plenty of experience and hasn't gotten it done, but has been right up there in the hunt. Third spot, we will use a first-time starter, the number 1, Sendario. Goes out for trainer John Sheriffs. They paid $325,000 for this horse as a yearling. A belated debut today as a 4-year-old, but this one had a sibling called Gripsum Castle that won its debut. That was in Europe, however. So we'll see what Sendario can do. But again, I think there's perhaps a little nature and nurture to hang our hats on here. So again, I'm going to do a win place on my top pick, the number 4 horse. I'm going to box up my top 4 in an exacta, and I have it 4, 3, 1, and 5.
On to the 5th race, we have 3-year-olds and up. Starter allowance raced in the 1-turn dirt mile.
And luckily, I had a good grip on my racing form today, because now they are tossing in individual pages.
Seth is telling me that pretty soon perforated is going to come so you can take it out yourself.
You really got to be careful that you don't lose part of your race. But I kept it all. I have it 1, 3, 6, and 2. The number 1 is Road Agent. Rudy Rodriguez trainee that's in some good form and has run well on the main track. Moves over after the season on the inner track. But again, you go back a couple of starts on the main track, that includes a win. So a Rudy trainee, 7-5 on the morning line. Michael Dubb owns, potent connections. Again, I master the obvious here on the morning line, but I think this horse will validate that. Number 3, Chilton. Michelle Nevin trains, another horse that's in some good form. This horse, however, has never run on the main track. It's a good first off the claim trainer in Nevin. This one was claimed last time. Had raced on turf at some points in the career. Over the winter was on the inner track and just seems to be in some good form. That claimed race last time was a win. I think this horse will fit with this particular field, so we'll put Chilton in the mix. And then the number 6, Reserved Quality, goes out for Jacobson and Drawing Away. And just another one, I think, looking at the complexion of the rest of this field, Reserved Quality will absolutely be a fit in with this bunch. 5th race today, 1, 3, 6, and 2.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, second half of today's action from the Big A.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right. The 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Turf Hop on April 5th. So sign up today, online at CapitalOTB.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
May 3rd, it's the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby, and you can watch it at CapitalOTBBet.com. With live streaming and 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, CapitalOTBBet.com is the most convenient way to wager on the Derby.
Well, excuse me there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Alongside Seth Miller, I'm Anthony Mormino. The new Wednesday with the Big A. We're underway. We're up to race number 6. We have 3-year-olds and up. Claimers in for $25,000. Non-winners of 3 lifetime going a mile.
I have 4, 9, 7, and 10. The number 4 is Park City. Goes out for Todd Pletcher. Joe Rosario on board, and I did look at opening day, the entries for Keeneland, and as we surmised on Monday, Joe Rosario, just a brief respite in New York before heading to Keeneland on Friday. But he will be on board Park City. This horse just seems to have an edge. You look at the numbers, and you know, as compared to the rest of the field, I think Park City, again, just has the edge and the connections that this one will be the logical choice in here. Second spot, the number 9, that is In My Father's Image. I think this horse is better than the latest effort. That just absolutely has the look to me of an aberration. Now, it could be a class kind of a thing. Just might have been in a little too deep last time, but moves probably back more into the comfort zone today. So look for a little rebound for In My Father's Image. And in the third spot, the number 7, Spite City. Again, Jacobson drawing away. They claimed the horse 3 starts back, and this horse clearly has improved since moving into the Jacobson barn. The numbers are moving in the right direction, and this horse could be primed for a very good effort today. I have it in the third spot, but if this horse moved up and ran better than my rating, it wouldn't surprise me at all. In the 6th, 4, 9, 7, and 10.
On to the 7th race this afternoon. We have 3-year-olds and up, open company, maiden claimers in for 40, also racing the 1-turn mile.
And I have it 3, 6, 4, and 1. But I will say, I'm going to toss out another horse just that's going to be interesting. And I couldn't pull the trigger on the number 5 Ducati, particularly not at the morning line of 6-1. But if this horse kind of floats up, it may be worth taking a look at. This is a horse that debuted in the middle of January for for Angel Penna. Has now moved into the barn of Alan Goldberg. But debuted down at Gulfstream. And debuted into what was absolutely a key race. At least the top 3 finishers came out and won. Notably, Ring Weekend came out of that race. So interesting. That was a maiden special weight event. Ducati now comes back for a tag, and I think that's why we're seeing 6-1, because the debut was horrible. But Ducati's interesting to me. The debut was just bad enough, though. I can't pull the trigger. And again, if the price is that short, it really becomes unattractive to me. But as I say, keep your eyes perhaps on Ducati. Just if it does float up, keep that in mind. Again, I have 3, 6, 4, and 1. The number 3 is Killer Crossover. Goes out for Todd Pletcher. This is a son of Indian Charlie. I like Indian Charlies as precocious runners. Now this one hasn't quite lived up to that, but has been facing Maiden Special Weight Company. The move in for a tag today may provide this one a little foundation to finally live up to that breeding. It is, as I say, Pletcher and Rapoli. So again, you have some win early connections and breeding as well. Expect this one to move forward with the class relief. Second spot, we're going to go out to the number 6, Jackson and Lorimer. Get some class relief. Nice bullet work, add some blinkers today. I think this is another one that in for a tag should run better than we've seen in the first couple of starts. And in the third spot, Neo Classic, the 4-horse, yet another one making the move, the potent move from Maiden Special Weight Company to Maiden Claimer, and should get the wake-up call there. In the 7th, 3, 6, 4, and 1.
On to the 8th race this afternoon. New York State Breds, Fillies and Mares, entry-level allowance, non-winners of 1, racing 6.5.
6, 4, 3, and 7. The number 6 is In Her Day. Linda Rice, trainee that I just, with a couple of starts under the belt so far, nice improvement, start 1 to start 2. I think this may be the one that has still the most upside potential. Probably has to step it up slightly, but again, with only a couple of career starts and really having figured it out last time, I think this one is eligible to step it up a little bit. So we'll put In Her Day on top. Second spot, I'm going to use Kilnock again, the number 4 horse. Potent connections, Jacobson drawing away. This is a horse that's looking for a rebound off the last effort. Really looking for a rebound since the claim. They claimed this horse 3 starts back, and the horse kind of went in the wrong direction after that for Jacobson, which is a little bit unusual. But did show perhaps a little bit of life last time with some early speed before fading late, and this one might hold on a little bit longer today, again, for those potent connections. In the third spot, By Leaps and Bounds, the number 3 horse. Just one of those that seems capable on its best effort. One of those that's hard to know when we're going to get that, but a couple of starts back was an okay effort, and then you go back maybe 6 or 7, strung a couple of nice ones together. So as I say, you don't quite know. It's a little bit inconsistent, but By Leaps and Bounds, if this one comes out with the running shoes on today, can certainly be in the mix. In the 8th, 6, 4, 3, and 7.
And in the finale, Open Company, 3-year-olds and up, Fillies and Mares, Claimers 12-5, non-winners of 2, racing 6.
4, 1, 9, and 7. The number 4 is Blue Ballerina. Blue Ballerina improved with the drop last time. Found some class relief moving back to 12-5 company after having faced a string of 20 and 25s. And was a just missed second after having led for much of the trip. Again, I think this one with the move back to 12-5 has come back to the comfort zone. Should run well again today. Second spot, we'll go with the number 1, Zimbabwe Lady. I'm going to look for a rebound with the class drop. Was claimed a couple starts back for 25. Ran again for 25 last time. Now goes for 12-5. Had shown some nice efforts and numbers a little earlier in the career. And I'll look for this one, as I say, to get back to those with the drop. And then Ratalfa, the number 9 horse. Just the numbers fired over the past few seem to have some consistency and perhaps a little edge on the rest of the bunch in here. So in the finale, 4, 1, 9, and 7.
And that wraps up our Wednesday look at the Big A, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon on Capital Off-Track Betting, a full slate of racing for you, kicking off with Tampa Bay Downs. Thank you very much. Followed by Aqueduct, Chicago Way, Hawthorne, where Tim Thornton tries to get April underway. As we mentioned, he didn't win a race on the final day of February, the final racing day of March, out Chicago Way. But other than that, he's won every single day. Turf Paradise, Northfield Park, Penn National, Pocono, Mountaineer, Balmoral, Australia A and B later on this evening. As I begin looking at Keeneland's Friday card this evening, I'll have Australia Racing. Also, if you missed any of Seth or my selections, we invite you to go to CapitalOTB.com, click on the Handicappers Report. You'll get all of Seth's thoughts from the Big A and mine from Tampa Bay Downs. Then we invite you to go over to CapitalOTBBet.com, ladies and gentlemen. The state-of-the-art wagering platform commenced in November. Easiest way to play the game, live streaming video. You have race replays, which I've said many, many times is invaluable to find prices on horses and We have makes you eligible when you sign up for a Capital Bets account, makes you eligible for the many contests we run throughout the year, and also eligible for the promotions, of which the free money at the racetrack, where you open up a new Capital Bets account. Once you've wagered $50, Capital Off-Track Betting puts $50 more into your account, regardless how well you did with your first $50. Seth, who do you have on Racing Across America on Hump Day?
Wednesday means a visit from Jeremy Plonk, HorsePlayerNow.com, Countdown to the Crown. Always take a review of the 3-year-old action. We'll do that from this past weekend, Florida Derby, Louisiana Derby, UAE Derby. Also look a little bit forward to Santa Anita and Aqueduct with the Wood and the Santa Anita Derby. Also joined by John Burrell from the Tampa Bay Downs Handicapper. Get some of his thoughts on Tampa Bay for this afternoon.
My thought, I like Jeremy's work. I mean, it's obviously very thorough. And I don't know that he takes this angle. If you get a chance off the air, has he made through the years overviews right about this time of year, early April, about the crop going in? Does he do anything like that? I mean, I know he's very much in the moment type with the work that he gives us, but obviously he's so enraptured with the Triple Crown, you would think he develops foresight to what this 3-year-old crop, because I'd be very intrigued. I mean, you know my stance really going back, starting with the springtime of '08, I gave, and by the way, how did those letter grades stack up? Pretty good, I think, pretty rough. I'd be interested to see with, I think what many people, Seth, and maybe you disagree, would say 3 of the top 6 or 7, the top billing, the Shared Belief, and Shug's Other Horse. Honor Code. With those 3, I would say those 3 would probably be in the top 10 of many people's list, not even really getting there. And now Cairo Prince maybe taking a step back. What the feeling is, because I don't have a feel for this group, and I thought I've had pretty good field for the 3-year-old crops. I mean, Midland? I mean, I don't know what we're.
Yeah,
what's.
I think as we've talked about before,
Candy Boy,
at this point,
me,
we've seen so few races from these horses in their 3-year-old season. It's hard to make a decision.
And it's getting late.
Yeah, it may turn out. I said to you the other day,
It's
my
early for late.
ESPN poll, I'm hoping has a little more definition over the next couple of weeks. But I don't know that that's going to be the case. If these next 4 races wind up the way that we've seen the prep so far, we'll be going to the Derby with a lot of question marks. So we'll see. I mean, these last 4 preps certainly have the opportunity to give some more definition to the class, but we'll see.
I mean, it's pretty late to be. I think Candy Boy and Opportunity and maybe Tapichor, they are 3. I think that'll be on many people's list to really make a step forward. Very interesting, because I don't have. To me, right now, it's shaping up as a great betting race, as it usually does.
May say something. A lot of folks, not a lot. I've heard the buzz from the pundits.
What's the buzz?
Untappable might be the best 3-year-old out there.
I want to say something. I've been down this road many times before, because it seems like, doesn't it seem to you that, let's say every other year, there's a 3-year-old filly that tends to dominate a couple of races and win by daylights. We don't see that with boys too much, but there does seem to be a strike. How to work out for an unlimited budget last year when she ran at the Belmont off of a couple of convincing wins. Ladies and gentlemen, up next, Racing Across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.